Hello, and welcome back to A Little Privacy Please, the weekly series where we cover what matters most in data privacy, without the noise. I'm Julie Rubash, General Counsel and Chief Privacy Officer at SourcePoint by Didomi. This week, both of our stories come out of the same state. New Jersey had a busy stretch, passing a new design code aimed at protecting kids online and separately rewriting its comprehensive privacy law while creating a brand new data broker regime, all in the span of a few days. They're two different tracks, one focused on minors and the other on the broader data economy, but together they show just how fast states are willing to move once they decide to act. So let's get into both. Let's start with the New Jersey Age-Appropriate Design Code, which just passed both houses of the legislature. If the governor signs it, New Jersey becomes the sixth state with a law like this, joining California, Maryland, Nebraska, Vermont, and South Carolina. New Jersey is narrower in scope than those other laws, but for those it applies to, the stakes are actually higher. Let's start with scope. Most of these design codes apply broadly, basically any online service reasonably likely to be accessed by kids. New Jersey narrows that considerably. Its law only reaches services that are reasonably likely to be accessed by children, available over the internet, allow account holders to post content, and critically, let those account holders interact with each other's content as a core feature of the service, essentially social media applications. In plain terms, that means an ordinary publisher of editorial content with no comment sections or user interaction likely falls outside this law entirely, even though it would probably be swept into the other 5 states' broader codes. But if you are in scope, New Jersey may actually be the riskiest of the 6. It's the only one of these laws that creates a private right of action, meaning individuals, not just the Attorney General, can sue. And it's the only one that gives minors and parents a right to access and correct the personal data driving content recommendations specifically. Beyond those two standout features, New Jersey largely borrows from the other 5 states. Real-time geolocation signals, which every one of those laws requires, parental monitoring notifications found in all but Maryland's version, quiet hour notification suppression borrowed from Nebraska and South Carolina, and several Vermont-style provisions, including limits on adult to minor messaging and a ban on any single toggle that would loosen multiple protective defaults at once. So the takeaway here is that if your service doesn't involve real interaction between users, you may be outside New Jersey's law, even if you're covered elsewhere. But if you are in scope, treat this one seriously. The private right of action changes the risk calculations significantly. Now for the second New Jersey story. This one is about general consumer data, not just kids. New Jersey Assembly Bill 5328 was introduced, passed, and signed within about 3 days, and most of it took effect immediately. So pay attention, because these are things you may need to be doing right now. The bill does 2 things. First, it amends New Jersey's existing comprehensive privacy law to ban the sale of sensitive data outright with no consent exception, making New Jersey only the 2nd state after Maryland to take that approach across the full category of sensitive data. Other states ban the sale of specific categories like geolocation or children's data, but not sensitive data as a whole category. New Jersey actually goes further than Maryland, too. The ban applies no matter how much data a company handles, even to entities that wouldn't otherwise meet the law's normal thresholds. The bill also tightens consent revocation, requiring revocation to be at least as easy as giving consent and requiring processing to stop within 15 days. This is not novel. It brings New Jersey in line with several other states. The more novel piece is a brand new data broker chapter. And don't tune out just because you're not a data broker, because this one applies to a new category of data collectors, which no other state has done. Most state data broker laws only regulate the downstream buyer, the company with no direct relationship to the consumer that's reselling the consumer's data. New Jersey does this, but it also regulates the original company that sold the data in the first place, as long as that data eventually lands with a data broker. So an ordinary retailer, publisher, or app selling its own first-party data to a broker now takes on broker-style obligations too, registration included. And here's the part with real teeth. The same sensitive data sale ban shows up again inside this new data broker chapter. That might sound redundant, but it isn't because the penalties are dramatically different depending on the path. Sell sensitive data as an ordinary controller, and you're looking at up to $10,000 for a first violation and $20,000 for subsequent violations. Sell that same sensitive data to a data broker, and the penalty jumps to $50,000 per record. So the takeaway for companies, if you're selling data, you now need to know exactly who's on the other end of that transaction. Because if they're a data broker, you now have new registration and disclosure requirements. And if you're selling sensitive data, like geolocation data, to data brokers, potential penalties just got significantly steeper. So 2 stories, 1 state, and a reminder that these laws are moving fast and getting more specific. On the kids' side, New Jersey narrows who's covered, but raises the stakes for those who are. On the general privacy side, it's tightening the sensitive data rules and reaching further up the supply chain than any other state so far. That's it for this week. As always, you can find more detail in our newsletter, A Little Privacy Please. I'm Julie Rubash. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Until then, go enjoy a little privacy, please.